What's up, everybody? I am former player Hannibal Navies, and today we are going to have a very candid conversation with some giants of the NFLPA around former player benefits and resources.
We on the rise.
If I'm a player and I call you about financial assistance, you know, how do I feel comfortable that this is like, my business is not out there? I'm this, you saw me as a Pro Bowler, but now I'm not a Pro Bowler anymore. I'm just coming, I need some help, right? How do I feel comfortable? I don't really want to come in because I'm like, I don't want to come in and tell them I need financial assistance. But I don't want everybody in the PA to know that I'm broke, or I don't want everybody to know that I'm hurting or that I have mental issues or whatever. How can we make them feel comfortable? But even, this is for any of you guys. How do we make them feel? You mentioned HIPAA, because I know at the trust, there's HIPAA guidelines there that legally binds you to that, right? Mm-hmm. But as a department, as across departments, and you guys work with other people, as you guys work with each other to help a player, how does that player feel comfortable? Like, man, how do I make sure my information is not getting out there? How do I make sure that my name ain't floating around there and all this stuff? How does just address that a little bit?
So from the trust standpoint, we keep all players' information confidential. Now, while we may collaborate with former players, we may collaborate with the PAF, we only collaborate on behalf of a player if that player tells us we can. So our players sign a general and a HIPAA release, but it's only on an as-needed basis. And we can't socialize what we're doing to support on behalf of any player unless that individual we're talking to on behalf of that player is a part of that team of support for that player. So if a player, for example, is in need of financial assistance, the PAF provides financial assistance. We're going to have that conversation with the PAF about financial assistance. We cannot have that conversation with former players about that player. We cannot routinely or in casual conversation socialize what we're doing to support that player around the organization or around the building. That information is confidential to the individuals that are supporting the player, and we leave it there.
This makes sense.
And for us, we extend the same confidentiality when players apply for financial assistance. And I'm proud to say in the more than 30 years that this has happened, there's never been any kind of leak, and players never read about himself in the newspaper receiving financial assistance from the PAF. So we're just going to keep that going.
Yeah, and the same thing, if guys are calling us and saying, we need this assistance, my team is really good at making sure that we follow both protocols. And that's another important part about having former players in the building, is that we can empathize. And I think our teams feel that, and I think they empathize as well. They're with us in this organization to serve the players, and 100% everybody in this organization is here to serve the players. So the reason why that hasn't happened, the reason why those things haven't happened, law or just morally obligated to make sure that we take care of us, I think that's filtered down through everybody else in the organization. The organization feels that way. It's never happened. And I will send guys, like I got the guys who I played with, right? I'm like, nope. I got to send you. I got to send you here. I love you. Don't tell me.
Right.
Don't just, I'm send you here. I'm going to send you here. That's what we do.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. And as we dig into more of these resources, because I think this is an important conversation, because like I said, we're talking from you guys, the head of these departments, talking about the actual resources. So I think it's super important for, our players to hear this, because you're breaking it down to where they can understand and make sense. Like, okay, I didn't know that you guys did that. So what is a benefit, Nolan, that you think people just don't know about that you guys offer?
Well, I don't think guys know enough about say our LinkedIn learning that we do for our 0 to 1s. I don't think enough guys know about that. Extremely important. And I always tell guys when we're at our chapter meetups and we're around our country, if you are not on LinkedIn, you are not present and you're not able to be taking advantage of the opportunities that are available to you. Like 98% of all HR professionals hire off of LinkedIn. And so I always tell the guys, like, you need to be on there. Your profile needs to be right. Hell, I'll even coach you. It ain't like mine's the best or anything like that. But I'll just say, if you got a picture with your football player, card on there or whatever, no, we didn't change that. But, we have programs that we do to actually train guys on it. But just that's number one. And then on top of that, we're just like, okay, the LinkedIn Learning Catalog is probably one of the most advanced learning catalogs that exists. And so we take care of the 0 to 1s for that. I don't think enough guys know about that. That's a great resource. Lee Harrison, same thing, transition. the resources aren't the same. The trust is just out of this world. I mean, across sports, across industry, the trust is peerless. And so, but we try to bring comparable and resources to at least help the guys get something. Lee Heck Harrison fills that gap in transition. 2 months of free coaching for transition for trust.
What is Lee Heck Harrison?
It's a transition service program. So they do resume building. They do interview prep. They also do some short-term hiring and things like that. So they really coach the guys on getting them ready to take that next step career-wise. It's a worldwide organization, but for what we need them to do, I think they do a good job. 2 months of training for them, good job. So that just fills that space up. But I don't think enough people know about those things. YMCA guys are like, well, I didn't get to, I don't have that. Well, we do the YMCA as well. We take care of the 0 to 1 schools, family, and everything. So like I said, comparable resources. It's not going to be the same, but we're in a space now that we don't have to tell a former player that we don't have anything for them.
Right, you can do something for everybody, no matter. I think the whole thing, one of the things to take away from this, whether you're 0 to 1, whether you're 5 years in, 10 years in, there's as a former player, there's resources across the board to everybody. There's something for everybody, right, to get them to push them through the transition. And I don't think that's always been there, and I think you guys have done a great job of working with each other to bridge those gaps and continue to bridge the gaps. And as we talk about this evolution of us, and I think we'll dig into more benefits as well, because I want to make sure that the players know this. But how are you guys going to go about making sure you continue to make sure those gaps are filled, or what is the process, and what are you guys looking for as you guys evolve to make sure as gaps change, right? Things change, players change, needs change. How do you guys make sure that you guys stay ahead of that curve?
I think one of the positive things that we've done just over the last maybe 4 or 5 months is we meet together as a team, and we talk about where we are, the resources universally, and come to grips with everything that's available universally for the former player place. And now we're looking to see, okay, where are the gaps? Where can we help? So we're actively looking at the landscaping, saying, are we duplicating? Are we, how can we make this more streamlined and available? I think maybe it's 6 months old we've been doing that, and I think we've just the effort itself has gained some good insight for us as an organization.
Yeah, I'll say 3 things. 1, boots on the ground. 2, we've done a quality of life survey, which I'll talk a little bit more about. And then 3, focus groups. So when I say boots on the ground, the best way to find out how to support a player is ask the player how to support a player, right? So we have what's called grassroots engagement opportunities. We attended the Raiders alumni event, which, of course, we have a Raiders alum in the house, and that helps us connect with hundreds of players. It's not a trust event,
right,
but it allows us to be in the presence of players. Professional athletes community gave us a good opportunity to get in front of players. Through those experiences, we've touched over 200 players. Well, what happens in those moments? We get to have dialogue with players. We get to see where they are, to meet them where they are, right? We did the quality of life survey. We sent out a survey to all eligible former players who both enroll in the benefit, but also who are not enrolled in the benefit. We got a tremendous amount of feedback in terms of how they look at the benefit as is and what would they like to see in terms of the benefits growth. That took us to the focus groups. We're running 2 focus groups right now. 1 to expand our captains program, which again are former players that serve as our boots on the ground to get more insights from players. And then 2, another focus group to be more targeted in terms of what those next services are. I talked about the success of the golf outings. We can't just survive on golf, right? Every former player doesn't want to golf, right? So what's going to get more former players out? Well, we're having that conversation. You asked me about brain and body. What does that growth look like? What are some other touch points we can add along that experience to help players better appreciate it? We're doing a docuseries around brain and body so players can actually see it, feel it, and the ones who haven't done it, inspire them to do it. But also when they put eyes on it, those who experienced it can say, hey, if you guys just added this, or I'm getting this locally, why don't you add this to the benefit?
Right.
So again, the best place to get the information about how to serve players is asking players how to serve players.
And that dovetails into our leadership as well. We've got the captains, we've got our 37 chapters, and each one of them have locally elected leaders. And we bring those leaders in twice a year, educating them about the resources and benefits, but also to hear from them. And that's another reason why we go out to all the chapters every single year for the meetups, because you can't know what we want unless you go and you get in their faces and ask them about it, right? So I think universally you've done a really good job of that. And the same thing, Dre, when you talk about the couples retreats and things like that, you get more intimate involvement in those things, but the guys are getting feedback that way.
So we are, we're always learning. Again, when we're with our players, we have to be mindful to listen, and gather information. But for the PAF, it's the economy's changing. It's a tough economy out there. We always have to make sure that we're keeping an eye on what's happening in the world so that we're able to serve our players, especially for what we do, to serve our players the right way. Really, we need more money, to continue to do what we need to do to help players get back on their feet and get back on track. So it's an ever-evolving, system of things. You never can come up with the right set of programs or benefits and say, hey, we've done it, success. It's always changing, and it changes quickly. So, that's why, collecting the data, doing surveys, talking to players, that's ever important in what we do.
Our youngest former player is 22, 23 years old. Our oldest former player is 100.
Wow. Okay. That's Smite's 100. Yeah, I got something to look forward to then. That's good.
To that point, we have to have a more targeted approach in how we connect and reach out to players. One innovation of our outreach and engagement team in the last year was something very simple that we take advantage of. How many of you still receive hard mail from the NFL?
Yep.
Direct mail from the NFL? Very few of us, right? But unless it's the benefits update, right? But not new benefits, right? So one of the things one of the approaches we took this past year was we took a certain age group, I believe 50 and above, and the team created a direct mail initiative. And we saw over, I believe, 100 enrollments through that process. So we have to take a more targeted approach to deal with the different segments of players because they're not a monolithic group, right? Depending on when you play, depending on how old you are, your interests and needs may be different. And we want to be mindful of those differences in how we approach players.
No, I love that. And I think I want to make sure I touch upon one thing, too, from a career standpoint, Zamir. I don't want to get out of here and I talk about, the Trust Scholarship as well. Like, that is super important, and it goes across all channels of all departments.
Yeah.
We talking about $20,000 a year to go back to school. Like, $20,000 a year to go back to school. So if you're a transitioning player, you can go back. There's nothing holding you back from finishing college, getting a master's degree, being a doctor, anything. We've seen guys become lawyers, doctors.
Yeah.
We've seen all this since my time working there, right? So talk a little bit about how important the role that's played and allowing guys to say, okay, I have no barrier entry to do that, right? No matter what my financial situation is, I know I can go to Trust and go back to school, right? Talk a little bit about that.
I'll talk about the glory of that benefit. But first, I have to recognize that you just stole some of my key points. So yes, the benefit is $20,000 a year for your lifetime.
I just had to say that because it's like crazy. I had to say it several times because it's like, that's $20,000 a year, not like one time.
And if you can remember when we first launched the Trust, we didn't have trust with players.
Yeah.
We were at a very critical transition from, getting players to be on the outside of anything associated with the union, anything associated with the NFL, to trust us to come on the inside to help us provide those benefits. So let me remind you of the times that they will hang up on us on the phone when we say you're going to get $20,000 a year for your lifetime.
Stop lying.
Stop lying. We don't believe it.
Yeah.
Literally, the benefits were so trailblazing that they would not believe it, right? So $20,000 a year for your lifetime. And guess what? You don't pay taxes. You don't come out of pocket. Your school is paid direct.
It's not a reimbursement.
Not a reimbursement. Very seamless experience, right? And if you still have tuition reimbursement, we'll work together to combine those benefits to make sure you don't come out of pocket, right? Or at least you're reimbursed at the end using tuition reimbursement, because that's another benefit you have if you so need to bring that in.
That's nice. I didn't know that. Yeah.
So you also get $5,000 a year for certifications, right? For your lifetime.
Right.
And yes, we've seen guys get law degrees. We've seen guys get go to dental school. We've seen guys get teacher certificate. I mean, you say
CDL licenses,
with
everything.
CDL
Yeah.
license, we you name it, we've seen it, right? We're approaching, I believe, over 1,100 obtained degrees or certifications, and we contribute almost $4 million a year towards education.
That's dope, man. And I love that benefit, man. I think keeps people moving, keeps people going, keeps people something active to do, even as they're figuring stuff out. I used to tell guys all the time, like, as you're figuring it out, you got money to go and figure some stuff out. And if you don't like it, you can switch off, but you have opportunity to continue to do that. Dre, I wanted to make, before we get out of here, I want to also understand, I know you guys have a philanthropy arm that you guys give grants out for, and there's a scholarship for student athletes for players. Dig into that for me a little bit.
Yeah, when you had asked Nolan, what's the thing that people don't know about, I immediately thought about our family scholarship. So it's a $2,500 scholarship for the children of former players, boy or girl, but graduating high school senior that's going to move on and play sports in college, but doesn't have a full scholarship. So, we don't get a lot of applications on this.
You'll be getting one from me this year, don't worry.
Okay, great. But we're batting.
Your son's getting a full scholarship. I ain't the snitch though. I'm over here snitching. I'm sorry. That my son played Division II ball. He got that scholarship, Andre.
There you go. We don't get a lot of applications on it, but we are batting 1,000. Usually the players and their children, they turn in perfect applications. And the essays are always so inspiring, how they celebrate their parents, for giving them the opportunity and instilling, hard work and, working hard and being dedicated to something. So it's fun to read those every year. So that's one thing. So a $2,500 scholarship, apply. It's there for you. Then the other charitable piece that we do have charitable grants that go out to kind of what I would call grassroots foundations that, do good community work with a focus on kids, some focus on sports. And we really like to support those grassroots foundations that have players involved. Like either the player is the founder or the executive director or has a close relationship with a player. So that's what we do. And we grant, sometimes up to $300,000 a year to those groups. And again, it's just, we do so many different things because that's the space that we've been given. But we always try and bring it back to the player in some way, shape, or form.
I love it. I love it.
I like the tone of sort of the best kept secrets. I'll give sort of 3, I think, best kept secrets of the trust. One, you talked about the YMCA benefit. Now through the YMCA benefit, every trust eligible participant, you can actually go and get swim lessons with your dependent by your side. I actually got a text message from a former player who was with his mom getting swim lessons. And I said, make sure you post that picture.
Yeah.
Right? So just note, if you're not a swimmer, please become a swimmer. It's a good way to take pressure off those joints and still get exercise. And it's part of our overall pain management package. So that's going to be a good resource for us now and going forward. 2 business plans through our entrepreneurship program through Manpower Right Management. So you can actually get business plan development, whether you are on either side of entrepreneurship, aspiring or established. And not only just the business plan, you get one-on-one coaching, you get skill and personality assessments, as well as web-based resources.
Okay.
And then the last, I would say, sort of best kept secret is we know a lot of former players that are coaching through our Exos benefit. They'll actually work with you to develop an entire year periodization plan for your athletes, right? One of the things we did in collaboration with the Legends community, because they have sort of a carve out for players that are coaching, Lusaka Polite, our director of outreach, got on with that group and talked about, as well as Exos, and talked about that service we provide. So again, all former players in this space, please use that benefit so we know that your athletes are bigger, faster, and stronger every year, you know?
No, I love it, man. And as we wrap up, I want to make sure, thank you all for being here. I'm honored to be a part of this conversation because, like I said, as time goes on, history gets lost sometimes. And I think it's important to have history here of the NFLPA and the union that is here to service our players. So I think it's an important conversation that can continue to happen because the history of the PA is important for the young people. It's also important for people that are older, don't even know the history or why it is and what it is. And so I think this is an important conversation. So as we end, let's just go down the line, start with you, Dre. Like, what's your vision as the head of this department 5 years from now, especially as we know there's a lot of, just keeping it real, this is the barbershop, right? There's a lot of stuff up top that's going on that we hear in the news and whatever is going on. But how do we, as a union member, how do I feel comfortable and secure and stable that you guys got it for me, right? And what's the future of this union and your department?
Yeah,
from your vision standpoint.
For me and what I work on, it's making sure that players have an opportunity to be dignified, through our process, that we care about them, that we're doing all we can to help them be the best that they can be. It's a tough game. It'll beat you up. It'll take you away from, when you go to college, you have a focus to become a working adult. Then you're just, you're blessed with the opportunity to play football, and it kind of derails you from your career plans. But just to make sure that we're in that place where we have compassion and help players, be the best that they can be, with all of that.
Absolutely.
I say for me to continue to adapt and develop. We're going through some changes internally within the NFLPA now. I'm wrapping my head around what that means. But overall, I was asked this question about what's the kind of the deep-seated overall goal that you have. My overall goal is to know as much as we can about all of our players. And that's players in general, not just former players, but current players. And make sure that all of them are engaged. So if you add current players to it, there's over 31, almost 32,000 of us. Is it unreasonable? And my team has heard me say this. Is it an unreasonable goal? Maybe. But that's the whole emphasis of not leaving anybody behind. Even if they don't think there's something there for them, there is. So it's our job to go out and get them. So as that number 15, 20, 30 over the years, I want to see 100% engagement. I want to see 100% of our players communicating with us, knowing with us, taking advantage of all the resources across the board with whatever's available to them. If that is achieved, then there's nobody left behind.
Yeah. I would say, when I think about players and the trust, or when I think about players and the ecosystem of benefits that we all provide, I want every player to go to bed and wake up knowing that they're connected, supported, and celebrated, right? If a player goes to bed and wakes up, knows that when he rises, that he's connected, he's supported and celebrated vis-a-vis the trust, that inspires me, that right, drives our mission per se. I would say in terms of vision, we want to provide world-class service that players find utility in, that help them thrive post-career. How do we continue to get there? We have to innovate. We are well-resourced to the CBA, thanks to great negotiation strategy on behalf of the PA. So we have no excuse but to provide the greatest benefits and resources to players. How we innovate. Within the trust, we say we don't care where the idea comes from. Top to bottom, bottom up, laterally, we got to get there. Let the best ideas go forward, but let your ideas be driven by the needs and interests of players, using the player voice at the center, right? So we don't know yet what that next great thing is, but given our connectivity and trust with players, together we'll figure it out.
Man, that's very well said, man. I think it's we're here for the Former Player Getaway. It's a great kickoff to the Former Player Getaway, man. So I appreciate the conversation. And it's for the players listening to this. I mean, this is about you. It's about your connectivity to this. It's also, I always say this, right? It's about, you guys can have all the best resources in the world, but it's for the player to take that step, to make that call, to take that step and have that trust to say, I'm going to take advantage of this benefit. I'm going to do something for myself, because the benefits don't mean nothing if they don't take advantage of them, because we have benefits at the yin-yang as we see. But if you don't take that step as a former player to say, I'm going to get engulfed and involved in this and use it, doesn't do anything. It can't change your life, right? It can't make a dent in your life if you don't make that step to do it. So hopefully this conversation will get somebody, even if it's just one person, say, I'm going to take that step, make that call, and begin to change my life and my transition. It's important. So appreciate the work that y'all do as a former player. Continue to do the work, man. And I'll always be a champion of what you guys do as long as we helping former players. So I appreciate it. As we wrap up, how does a former player get in touch with you? Tell me, how do I get in touch with Professional Athlete Foundation?
Professional Athletes Foundation, you want to dial the main number, 372-2000. There'll be prompts to get to us.
What's the area code, man?
800, man, 800. All the players know that. 800-372-2000.
Okay.
Hit the prompts to get to the PAF. Also, if you do hit the prompt and you want to speak to someone now, that does come directly to the PAF, and that's 24 hours a day. We're at Your PAF on Instagram, Facebook. You can find us there, connect with us, follow along.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, same thing. That PA number is ingrained in everybody, 800-372-2000, NFLPA.com. They'll find their dashboard. They'll find everything. It's a personalized dashboard once you sign in. From that point, once it's a single sign-on, you can download the app. You can add your spouse on there so they can get that. So there's many avenues, but all you got to do is NFLPA.com. You get to your dashboard, boom, you're done.
Because the trust, I think, is so comprehensive, we always like to start with go to the website, because it's a lot. And because it's a lot, it's good to get a basic understanding before connecting. Playerstrust.com is where you find us. Players can also be comforted by it's an earned benefit. You earned it. It cost you nothing, but it's wasted if you don't use it.
Love it, man. Appreciate you, fellas.
In there.